Look at your feet. Go ahead. Look down. What do you see? Is it the swoosh, the three stripes, the leaping cat? Now, I want you to think about something uncomfortable. I want you to think about how those logos got there. We like to believe that these brands got big because of brilliant marketing, or innovative technology, or just good old-fashioned capitalism. And sure, that's part of it. But the real unspoken truth, the foundation of the entire sportswear industry, billions of dollars, global empires, the shoes on your feet, was built, fortified, and bankrolled by black excellence. Today, we are talking about the uncomfortable truth, how Nike, Adidas, and Puma were built off the backs of blacks. We're talking about Jesse Owens, Pele, and Michael Jordan, not just their highlights, but the economics of it. How their talent was used, how they were paid, and how these companies leveraged their black athleticism to conquer the planet. Let's start in 1936, Berlin. Adolf Hitler is in the stands, preaching Aryan supremacy to the world. And onto his track steps a black man from Alabama named Jesse Owens. Now, the Dassler brothers Adi and Rudy were watching. These German brothers had a small shoe factory in Herzogenaurach, and they knew the Olympics was their ticket. Adi Dassler went into the Olympic Village with a pair of handmade spikes and gave them to Owens. What happened next is history. Jesse Owens won 4 gold medals. He decimated Hitler's narrative on live television, and he did it wearing German shoes. But here is the part they don't put in the commercials. Jesse Owens became the first great black endorser for what would become 2 of the biggest brands in history. Because of his visibility, the Dassler factory survived World War II. When American troops rolled into Germany, they recognized the factory that made the shoes for the great Jesse Owens, and they let it keep operating. That act alone, the power of Owens' reputation, saved the company. Fast forward a few years, the brothers have a massive falling out. They split the company and formed Adidas and Puma, creating the town of Bent Necks in Herzogenaurach, where people would look at your shoes to see which side you were on. Their empire was born from a split, but it was baptized by a black man. And what did Jesse Owens get? Respect, sure. Glory, absolutely. But an equity stake in the company he saved. Not a cent. He was the foundation, but he didn't own the house. Now let's jump to 1970. The World Cup. The beautiful game is about to get its first true global superstar, Pele. Adidas and Puma are mortal enemies, and they know that Pele is the ultimate prize. Here's where it gets dirty. The 2 German companies, run by 2 feuding German brothers, looked at this black Brazilian king and realized that if they bid against each other for him, they might destroy each other's bottom line. So they did what any rational business would do. They colluded. They made a pact. It was called the Pele Pact. They agreed. Neither company would try to sign Pele. They decided to freeze him out to protect their own profits. Think about that. They conspired to deny the greatest footballer of all time an endorsement deal because they were scared of what it would cost them. But Puma blinked. A Puma rep got friendly with Pele, and Pele asked a question. Why doesn't anyone want me? The rep threw the pact out the window. Puma offered him $25,000 for the tournament, $100,000 over 4 years, and a cut of the profits. Then came the moment, the 1970 World Cup final. As Pele prepared to take a kick, he looked at the referee and asked for a moment. He bent down, slowly, deliberately, and tied his shoe. The cameras, broadcasting in color to the entire world for the first time ever, zoomed in. They saw the Puma logo. That single act of tying a shoe is worth more money than most of us will ever see. It was the first great product placement heist in sports history. Puma exploded, and Pele, he got his bag. Sure, he made history, but compared to the value he brought, the pact they tried to enforce shows you the mentality. The brand saw black athletes as a cost to be managed, not as the actual equity. Pele had to force his way into a company that was built on his back. Finally, we get to 1984, and this is where they perfect the formula. Nike was not always an 800-pound gorilla. Back then, they were third. Adidas was king, and there was a rookie coming out of North Carolina named Michael Jordan. His first love, Adidas. He wanted to sign with Adidas, but Adidas dropped the ball. Nike, desperate, pulled out all the stops. They offered him a 5-year deal worth $500,000 a year. Unheard of for a rookie. They offered him something else too. His own shoe, his own brand. Now, Nike projected that the Air Jordan line would sell about $3 million worth of shoes in its first 4 years. That's their projection, their expectation. Let me tell you what actually happened. In the first year alone, the Air Jordan line did $126 million in sales. 1 year, one rookie, one black man. The NBA even tried to ban the shoe because of the colorway. And Nike, smartly, turned that into a marketing campaign. The NBA can't stop you from wearing them, the ad said. They used the image of the rebellious black man to sell sneakers to the suburbs. He transcended the sport, but here's the legacy. In 2024, the Jordan brand alone did nearly $7 billion in revenue. Michael Jordan gets royalties, and he's a billionaire. Good for him. He's the exception that proves the rule, but look at the template. For Jordan, Nike was a running shoe company. Michael Jordan took them global. He made them a cultural force. He literally built the modern Nike with his airtime and his blackness. And a contract that seemed so insane in 1984. It was a bargain for Nike. They got the blueprint. They learned that if you can attach a black icon to your logo, you own the world. So here we are. Jesse Owens, the man who saved the Dassler brothers factory, got a paycheck and a place in history, but not a share of the company. Pele, the king who broke the cartel, made his money, but the Pact shows they wanted to keep him out. Michael Jordan, the one who finally broke through and got his due, showed just how massive the ceiling really is. These brands didn't just get lucky. They didn't just make better shoes. They capitalized off blacks. They used the grace of Jesse, the genius of Pele, and the godliness of Mike to build empires. The next time you drop $200 on a pair of Jordans, or lace up your Pumas, or rock your Adidas, just remember, you're not just wearing a shoe, you're wearing a history. A history where black excellence was the fuel, and corporate boardrooms reaped the rewards. These companies, they gave us back a product. We buy the shoes, we wear the clothes, we make the culture cool. But who sits in the boardroom? This isn't a don't buy the shoes speech, it's a no to history speech. When you lace up your Jordans, when you watch Spike's movies, remember the backs you're standing on. Remember the kings who built the stage. They made them billionaires. The least we can do is own our own story.